All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So what I want to talk about today is emotions. Because I don't think a lot of people realize that they can obviously control their emotions. And I just think they forget or they don't care, right? But I'm just going to give you some of my point of view on, being self-aware when it comes to your emotions. Because I've seen kind of extremes on both sides. As far as some people, their identity becomes being over emotional. Now, when I say that, I don't even mean somebody who's crying or somebody who's always screaming, but they're just always kind of redlining, I call it, where they're always just, no matter what's going on, they have to bring their emotions into play. It could be in their personal life, work-related. I don't care what they're doing. They bring a lot of that emotional intensity to it, which sometimes it's called for. When you grow up in an Italian household with a lot of women, I guess you could say, and men, they're very expressive. It's very emotional. It's all emotional driven. It's based on feelings. It's based on anger, fear, laughter. And, again, and I'm not telling anybody not to be emotional, so just so we're clear, because I'm very emotional at times, especially regarding things I'm passionate about, but then I know how to shut it down. It's kind of, after making films too, you start to study people's different emotions too, because you need to immediately bring that to the table as far as filming it. So all of a sudden you're all sitting around having lunch together, laughing, whatever, and then half an hour later you're doing a scene where it's very intense. You're either somebody's been hurt, murdered, all these different things. So you kind of start to study human behavior differently. And also, back on the emotions, the other side I've seen too with being around a lot of people are religious, who were previously very emotional. It seems like they suppress their emotions now, a lot of times, which I found quite interesting. It's almost like a lot of them, this isn't a dig on them, they almost suppress who they were, which is okay. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. But a lot of what made them unique, funny, stand out to a certain degree, is kind of gone. And that happened to some of my close friends. It's happened with family members, friends, a lot of people, they just kind of disappear, their personality to a certain degree. I think they become very aware that, maybe in their eyes, that a lot of ways they were thinking or things they were doing or saying were not in, the light of, or in the, maybe not the way of the Lord, I guess you could say. And I think a lot of people if you've been around anybody who wasn't religious and then becomes religious, a lot of times it's like that. It's not usually where somebody becomes religious and becomes, maybe if they're a preacher of some sort, where they get overly passionate about things. Sure, they're passionate about talking about the Lord and things like that. But you can definitely tell it's more of a calming thing, which is great, which is fine if that's what you want to do. So those are kind of, and then there's the party emotion people, I should say, too. I mean, there's tons, but these are just the ones I was surrounded by a lot. And that was people that loved the party. Go out. It's all really about expressing themselves. They love hearing loud music. They love drinking, smoking, doing drugs, and just having a great time and bringing all that, maybe, I don't know if it's through the week or throughout the day, maybe they're feeling a certain way. And by going out and not even going out, they could be in their own home or whatever, and just getting crazy, I guess, to a certain degree, is something that they feel they need to do, which is, we all have our thing, right? But I'm kind of going to get into, I think, when it comes to me, is I've almost become too self-aware, and I goof around a lot of times and say I'm smart enough to know how stupid I really am. And that was kind of a joke I used to say, throughout my life, and people would laugh their ass off. But I also understand a lot of times when I'm at this point in my life, like, am I raising my voice because I want to intimidate somebody, or am I raising my voice because I'm just mad at myself, or I'm analyzing my behavior as I'm behaving a certain way, which I don't know if that's good or bad. But by being alone a lot when traveling, I realized, I was more or less watching a lot of other people's behaviors instead of, even thinking about my own, because when you're quiet and you're by yourself, either writing or I could be shooting a video or doing whatever, it's more analyzing. I become an analyzer. Sometimes my ex-wife used to say you're the big A on your chest, the overanalyzer. So for a long time, I'm kind of analyzing people going, wow, it could be family members too, friends, colleagues. Like, I behave a lot like this person, and right now I think he's acting or her like a goof. Oh, I say those stupid things too. I believe in that stupid shit as well. Like, a lot of times too, we have issues with the way other people are acting and how emotional they are regarding certain things, but we don't really see how we act when we're emotional about something. And I sometimes almost gear up for this. And the more self-aware, like I was trying to say earlier about me being very self-aware regarding my emotions and knowing what I'm doing almost at all times. And a lot of times things happen to me, and I think they knew me in my past to be like, oh shit, Rich, man, don't get crazy, don't get nuts. Are you going to scream? Are you going to be upset? Even in a relationship, I think about my girlfriend. I think some things she thinks that I'm going to get nuts over, and I'm like, what is that going to accomplish? That doesn't mean I'm not going to get emotional over certain things, right? I don't get aggravated. Of course I do. But what's the end result? What is me getting upset or getting nuts for? What's the end? Again, what is this? What is this? And if you watch my videos, I'm kind of compassionate. I see myself. I edit my own videos. I see that I'm always talking with my hands, and I really, truly do want to help people if I can. And I get sometimes even aggravated when I'm editing or regarding certain content or certain conversations. But then I'll catch myself and be like, what are you, is what you're saying making sense? Or are you just programmed to keep saying the things you said because you may have heard it from somebody else? And I've really been analyzing like a lot of people regarding a lot of things, especially political, is a lot of people only want to believe what they want to hear. And they also are only spewing out what they believe, regardless if it's factual or not. And you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But then I'm seeing how other people are reacting to what they're saying. And back and forth. And at the end, what did either one get out of this? And I am going to wrap it up with this when it comes to just emotions again and arguing. Because I think no matter who you are, you're going to end up in arguments in your life, especially if you end up in relationships, and especially if you have children, if you're still around your parents, you have siblings, you're going to fight and argue. If you don't, there's no, I think, true compassion. My Aunt Carmela, who's very Sicilian, used to beef with her husband, who's my uncle, my dad's brother, and they're loud. Italians sometimes, they were quiet and they were loud, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'd get scared. And she'd go around and go, hey, the argument is what keeps us together. And it was a joke. And I would drink black coffee with her. And she's like, do you see what I got to put up with my husband? And then my Uncle Joe would say, like, you got to see what I put up. I'm talking about more fun type of arguing, but I'm sure they argued as well. But she's like, if he doesn't argue, there's no passion behind it. Like, I know where he believes in this, and that's why I believe in him, and he believes in me. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's kind of an interesting perspective. It's, passion again, or just, your behavior. It exposes a lot of who you are, good or bad, sometimes. So anyways, just something I thought I would do a podcast on. But definitely pay attention to your behavior, because I also believe a lot of things we not only do, but we say, and it took me a long time to, figure some of this shit out. Like, words do hurt. I never really thought that, but I used to date a girl, and I used to who brought that up to me, another crazy Italian, but I never cared really what I said. And then I did it with a lot of compassion sometimes, and sometimes I was just mean. And I knew what I was doing. I'm not that stupid, But I also didn't realize, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't realize the effect it was having on her or other people. So sometimes, back to your emotions, when you start acting a certain way and saying a certain thing, you're going to be impacting people, maybe for the better, but also for the worse. So just really pay attention to that if you could. If you don't want to, who gives a shit? Live your life. But these are things I think about, and I wish people would have just mentioned some of these things to me, because I just usually just confined into what environment that I wanted to go into. And a lot of those environments were not always the best. And what's crazy is I bring a lot of people into my environment thinking it would be fun. It could be the bar nightclub business. It could be a lot of different things. It could be even me making films. But, a lot of times that's not for them. And if they didn't want to be a part of it, I'd get emotional, like they weren't like respecting me and what I wanted to always do. I wasn't always respecting what they wanted to do. So, those are just things that I wish people would have taught me. Just taking a look. I'm pretty good at looking at what other people are going through now more than ever, I believe, not always being so self-consumed with what I have going on. And maybe if you took some time, it may be able to help you as well get through certain situations in your life. All right. So anyways, I've been putting up new videos on my YouTube channel. I'm climbing up on, I think, 500,000 minutes watched. So for me, that's been really cool. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So you could check out all my stuff on richcelenza.com. All right. Take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.